Oh my God.
The first night he went to a concert, like, it was like 2:30 in the afternoon, he goes, just getting up, I said, I don't want to see you today. Oh, no.
Alright, good evening everyone. I'm calling this meeting to order at 7:01. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Jack Sapia,
Attending.
John Woodward, and Kristen Savage, Katie Knudsen, Shauna Manthorn, Mark Sherwood, Kim McCormick, Lee Woodward, and Paul Kane.
Here.
Thank you. Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Move this way. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. We've got some meeting minutes to approve, and then I believe we also have some non-public as well. We're gonna do the public one first. I'm sorry, are you doing first? The public ones, because we've not passed out the non-public yet.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of November 2nd, 2023 as written.
Got a motion seconded by Don Woodworth. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And abstain. Okay, and then we do have some non-public passing around.
Make a motion to approve the non-public session of November 2nd, 2003.
A motion to approve in a second. Second by Mark. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And abstain. So 8-0. Yeah, if we could pass those back, please. Thank you. Student staff and family share, I believe that the original presentation from the high school ropes course is not gonna be here tonight, correct? It's gonna be at the next one.
Correct. Maybe we'll talk about rescheduling them, but they're off honoring one of the teachers that won the Adaptive PE Teacher of the Year tonight, so they're attending that ceremony with them. So they're doing good work tonight still.
Awesome. So I'm actually, if the board is okay, I'm gonna move up the girls soccer team and let them go ahead and come up and speak now so they don't have to keep on, so.
Hey, standing O!
Congratulations, ladies.
Yeah, thank you for having us tonight. It's been a great season, obviously a great few weeks. I think we're still basking in the glory of the last couple of weeks, but I appreciate the invite here tonight. On behalf of the team, it's an awesome group of kids, obviously talented, but super hardworking group, super kind and respectful group. And I said at the banquet right after the season, I didn't necessarily know we were gonna win, but I knew we had something special, and it was the group that was special. So I'll let a couple of our captains, Maya and Leah, are gonna speak on behalf of the group.
Hello, my name is Maya Parker, and I am very honored to be a captain on the girls soccer team. First, I wanted to take a second to thank everyone that has dedicated their time. Also, a huge thanks to our coaches, teammates, and last, I would like to thank the school board, boosters, fans, families, and anyone that has showed up for us throughout the season. Next, I want to touch a little bit on the impact that this has had on my team and myself. This is something that most people only experience once in their life, if ever. And I think I can speak for all of us by saying that we'll be able to remember this forever. And we set some goals at the beginning of the season and worked every day to get the outcome that we did, and we're all very thankful for getting that. I think that this shows dedication and hard work for every single one of us because it takes a team to do what we did for sure. And we couldn't have gotten here without the team chemistry that we had, kind of like Bowman said, but it makes the win feel 100 times better. So that's all, but thank you.
I'm Leah Morier, and I'm very proud to have been a part of this program for the past few years. We've had a lot of success, especially last year, or this year, but last year we got to the semis for the first time. Unfortunately, we lost to Exeter, but this year when we came back, we kind of wanted to run it back, so we made that our slogan. And not only did we want to have more success than we did last year, we just wanted a good run that we could be proud of, which we definitely did. We had a great season. We fought all season, worked hard. I loved these girls, getting to work with them, our coaches, the boosters. So we did make that good run, and when we got to the semis, it was kind of real. We were back facing Exeter again, and this time we won, thankfully. So that was great. So thank you to everyone for the support. We couldn't have done it without everyone helping us out. So thank you.
I want to tell you, you guys are such an exciting, talented team. And the way you guys won, it's so dramatic. It was amazing. Congratulations. You guys are just awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I gotta tell you, I don't think most people realize how much hard work goes into this. My guess is most of you started out as Timberwolves with your little shirts dragging on the ground at 4 years old, and you decided you really like this, and it turned into 12 months a year. My daughter was a captain of a previous team with Roman. I think he got married when she was a sophomore and had his first child when she was a senior. No one deserves this more than you. You've hung in there with the girls forever, and I'm really happy. Couple things. First, these are friends you're gonna have for life. So I've seen that firsthand. I think one group that gets underappreciated are the people who brought you when you were 4 or 5 years old to all those games, who had bouts of nausea every time you got the ball as you got older. And thank you to the parents for the hard support, because they dedicate their time and they dedicate their, let's face it, fiscal resources to help you ladies go along. I wish you'd scored that goal a little bit sooner in the game, because I had those bouts of, but you guys dominated that whole game. You dominated the whole game, and you should be so proud of yourself, because what you did is so hard to do. So congratulations from the bottom of my heart, and thank you to the parents and the coaches and Angelo for putting it all together. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say for the team? Well, congratulations, girls, again. That is a very hard thing to do, so.
I was just saying, congratulations, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm a parent of the boys team, and clearly not the same success. It was fun to have you guys. It was really fun to have you to watch this year and see Timberlane soccer thrive. And how many are seniors? Four of us. So, and I know, Mia, you're going on. Who's playing college soccer?
Leah's
I'm sorry.
on, and Sophia is playing as well.
Okay. And you're
I'm not playing college.
cross?
I don't know.
No, okay. A lot of great athletes, a lot of great people, so congratulations to you all, and best wishes to our seniors, and we look forward to seeing the rest of the team back next year and maybe go for that repeat.
Tufa.
That's right.
So could I ask an open question to anybody on the team, and multiple answers would be great, but I would love for you to talk to the public and the board about what connection do you see between soccer and learning, or soccer and school, or soccer and academics?
I think soccer definitely connects to learning. I mean, you learn life lessons on the field. Things don't always go your way, and people end up fighting, but you kind of have to work through it with each other. So you kind of learn that teamwork and working with others, which is obviously something you need in life.
So I hear you talking about teamwork, I hear you talking about perseverance, that you can kind of maybe transition into the classroom. Other thoughts? What are other connections that you see?
I think that also we have big tests in school, and I think that
we had like every game is like a test, but then our biggest test was at the end of the year, and it was nice that we like did good on that.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you girls again, thank you for coming and sharing that, and that's awesome, and
Congratulations.
congratulations.
State champs.
We do have one delegate individual, Boucher. Have a good evening, ladies.
Sorry to throw the boys team under the bus again, Armand, but.
Saw that side, right?
Yeah, there's.
Evening.
Good evening. It's gonna be hard to follow up after seeing all those champions.
All right.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm speaking this evening in support of free full-day kindergarten. And I'm asking you to form a committee to explore the need for free full-day kindergarten in our district. As a parent and as a former school board member of the Timberland Regional School District, and also as a former early childcare educator, I am confident free full-day kindergarten will lead to positive results and help this district achieve its academic goals. Free full-day kindergarten is not a new idea that I'm bringing to this board nor to the district administration. The conversation has been taking place for some time prior to when I joined the school board last year. Free full-day kindergarten was designated as a 2021-22 goal on the previous 5-year strategic plan. I acknowledge COVID may have delayed this goal, like other goals thought possible during the 2017-18 school year. Now we need to pick up this conversation and be more deliberative in taking action towards the goal of free full-day kindergarten. I believe free full-day kindergarten is an equitable solution to help boost long-term academic success within the district. Additionally, we're lagging behind our district neighbors who already offer free full-day kindergarten. I strongly believe there are more benefits than drawbacks to having free full-day kindergarten. Instead of me or anyone else speculating what free full-day kindergarten will do to the district, we could have a committee publicly conduct the research, compile data, and make an appropriate decision to move the conversation into action. I can imagine some members of the public having concern with the idea of anything labeled free in light of higher tax bills. I will say to these individuals, a committee could be used to determine the financial impact to the district. Parents are currently charged $4,500 per year or $450 per month for full-day kindergarten, while half-day kindergarten is already free. While that amount of money does not sound like much, there are many young families who cannot afford to pay this amount. Furthermore, even if a family chooses half-day kindergarten, they may not be able to find suitable work flexible enough to work around a 3.5-hour day. As a result, there are parents who are choosing not to send their children to kindergarten. This means there is a population of students entering school for the first time into first grade who will be expected to keep pace with other students who have previously received some form of education. This can result in needing extra services to help those students catch up to their peers. Free full-day kindergarten addresses this concern earlier by giving educators more classroom time to prepare students for elementary grades. A committee will help able to corroborate some of the information that I've provided. A committee can better inform the public while also including the public in the conversation for free full-day kindergarten. Forming a committee for free full-day kindergarten makes the process towards making it a reality as transparent as possible. I hope you take my support for free full-day kindergarten into consideration and do not delay to form a committee so we can move our district forward. And I guess in addition to that, I will say that I don't think there's any great opportune time to introduce this idea, but I think the committee is the best way of bringing this idea forward without actually taking any serious action that could have a financial impact to the district. At least we can have a committee lay out all the facts for everyone so they can be able to make their own decision if, let's say, this research in looking towards having free full day kindergarten leads towards, for example. But I think before we can get to that point, let's get that committee formed and then, make sure we have all the information provided to the public so they can make that decision, properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Do we have any other delegates or individuals? No. Could I get a motion to move the 25 minutes left for? Okay, thank you. Motion was made, do I have a second? Second by Bree, discussion, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained. 0-0. Are you voting?
I was a little slow on you. I approve.
Okay. All right, student rep.
Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's enjoying their Thursday evening. Thanksgiving break right around the corner next Wednesday, so that's great. And without further ado, I'll begin. Sandown Central is conducting their first Alice drill this week. Students and staff are feeling prepared, and the roles of stop, look, listen, and follow the teacher have been emphasized to students. On Tuesday, November 21st at 9 a.m., administrators from both Sandown schools will be participating in the first Principal's Coffee Hour of the year for the 23-24 school year. This event will be held at Sandown North. This is a great opportunity for Sandown families to have communication with their schools and administration. Staff and students are looking forward to the Thanksgiving holiday, and Sandown North wishes all of the Timberlane families a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. This week, the Danville Student Council created a kindness-themed Spirit Week in recognition of National Kindness Day, which was on Monday, November 13th. Staff and students at Danville successfully completed their first Alice drill yesterday. Fourth grade students at the Atkinson Academy have been learning about government and took a field trip to the New Hampshire State House recently. The Atkinson Fall Lip Sync will be held tomorrow, November 17th at 6 p.m. in the Timberlane Performing Arts Center. Pollard thanks the Lions Club for volunteering their time to conduct vision screenings for each student. A thank you goes out to Nurse Kate as well for organizing and supporting all of this. Pollard's trimester ends on November 28th, and report cards will be released on December 6th. At the middle school, students just completed a very successful fundraiser selling cases of cookie dough. They sold over 1,400 cases. The top sellers will be having lunch delivered and eating with Mr. Menses. Quarter 1 has ended at the middle school, and report cards have been posted to Power School. The Timberlane Music Association's mattress fundraiser will be held on Sunday, November 19th. This event will be running from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. The class of 25 will be having a crumble cookie fundraiser available to students during blocks 1 and 2 on Tuesday, November 28th. And while we can just bask in the Division I win of the soccer team, being on the boys soccer team myself, it was great to see some wins for Timberlane.
Is that all you had?
Quiet week.
It was. All right, we already moved the girls soccer team out, and again, congratulations to them, that's awesome. So the first thing on the agenda is our draft warrant articles. I believe Mr. Weiss is are you gonna present for the band uniform, sir? Yes, maybe?
Yeah, I think there's two warrants specific we want to speak to tonight. The
Yeah.
first will be our Article 10 with regard to the band uniforms, and you hear some revised language from Kurt and some rationale there.
Yeah, so just a little bit history, how we got to where we're at, why we took the route that we took, and sort of the plan for moving forward. So the department and the music community, they've done a wonderful job keeping the uniforms as functional as possible. Following natural cycles, this process for replacing the uniform should have begun right around spring of 2020. So obviously we had to pivot at that point, and other priorities took over. Now we're at the point where we can evaluate the uniforms and move forward with that natural process. But because it took a couple extra years, we're at the point where it needs to be a priority more than just like a scheduled maintenance kind of thing. If we, for whatever reason, don't get them for next year, we're still gonna be able to field a fully uniformed marching band for the football games and the Memorial Day parades. But
Cabaret, right?
there you go. But it's at the point where it has become a priority. The goal of this acquisition is to update the material. These were purchased in 1996. They're 100% wool. So they get incredibly hot during the warm weather. Yeah, so they're a little tricky. Super durable, as we found out, but it makes it a little challenging for the kids. So the new marching band uniform technology is it's like a polyester wool hybrid, so it still has that wool durability, but it still gives you that warmth in the colder time, not as oppressive in the warmer time. So it's definitely an upgrade to the material. We're also looking to update the style too. We're looking to maintain the traditional style, but more of an updated traditional style for the kids and for the program. School districts often ask for these types of things through a warrant article. The last time these uniforms were purchased, it was a warrant article at Timberlane. The most recent example would be the Hudson School District. They asked for new marching band uniforms last year via a warrant article. The language they used allowed it to be acquired through surplus funds. There was an opportunity for them to just put the question to the taxpayers, but not necessarily appropriate additional funds. That's the route that they took. I think that's one of the options that we're gonna talk about, but I want to throw that out there. So should this pass, my intent is to include in my annual operating budget 5 additional uniforms per year. So that way we can account for any sort of unique size needs that come up as the program grows and kids move up from the middle school. We can replace any catastrophic damage that we can't take care of on our own, so we're able to maintain the stock that we have. The company gives a certain amount of years, depending on the company, 7 to 10 years, where they can guarantee that made to order style is gonna continue to be ordered. They recommend 5 uniforms because that's the sweet spot for cost effective versus quantity. If we order 1 or 2, it just becomes too expensive, so 5's there. And then looking at my budget and shifting some projects around and some timelines, I mean, I can acquire those 5 uniforms and keep a level budget moving forward with that.
Yeah, and currently, to kind of continue Kurt's conversation, the way the language is written now, it would be asking the voters at a no-cost item to look at unencumbered funds or surplus funds from this fiscal year to allow Kurt to make those decisions moving forward. So it would not have to wait a whole other calendar year or 18 months. That's the language now. There are some other options if the board is wishing to kind of move in some different directions as well.
Question. So regardless of how we decide to do this, I'm gonna support you 110%. I'll tell you why, because I heard everything you do is fiscally responsible, nothing but positive reviews, so I appreciate your effort. So what is the need for the warrant if we're gonna take it out of unencumbered funds? I fear that no means no, right? And we have a little bit different economic environment right now. There's no doubt you need these. I mean, it's long overdue. And if the money is sitting there, why are we gonna roll the dice, right? So to me, we don't need the warrant if that's what this board's flavor is, unless the only time I think we'd need the warrant is if we were reaching out to raise and appropriate. Am I looking at this the wrong way?
Good point.
Did you break?
So I just think it's the respect to the community to say, yes, we agree, because this is a large sum of money, to appropriate that in that means.
Normally, when I get around 100,000, I think it should go in a warrant, but in this case, it is like the core of what you guys kind of do. It's part of their apparatus, and I'd hate not to be able to do it, I guess is my point.
But what I'm hearing though is that you've done your research and this is what other districts do.
Correct, yeah. Other districts do the warrant article. In the past, it's been a warrant article for raise and appropriate additional funds. We went this route because we thought that the approach that the Hudson School District took last year was, it was novel. To that point, yes, it's surplus funds, we're not raising any additional money, but we are asking the community if that's something they're wishing to support with those additional funds.
And Kurt, could you just also speak to the fact that I understand it, but for the public at home, so it's saying marching and concert uniforms. Can you
Correct.
speak to the population of students that these uniforms will serve?
Yeah, I apologize, I
that's
focused
okay.
primarily on the marching band. This is also to finish the uniform acquisition project that I started this past year. I put dresses, concert dresses in my operating budget. I was able to shift some projects around, cause that's the least expensive aspect of it. The tuxes and the marching band uniforms are more expensive. It's not something I could continue to shift and push the timeline of other projects in my operating budget around. So the marching band uniforms would cover just those students that are in band, whereas the tuxes would be for all students in all high school performing ensembles. That would be band and orchestra and chorus and guitar orchestra.
I'm good.
Oh, you good?
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
I just wanna say, thank you for, you guys have stayed looking sharp for now, what, 25 years or 26 or 27 years? You care for those uniforms, you take care of them, you collectively respect them, you hold the kids accountable, and that's why I will support you moving forward, because I know it's unheard of that you can get that type of, wear and tear, for that many years.
Thank you. Yeah, and we have a fantastic music department, administrative assistant that spends a lot of time making sure we have the supplies and the folks able to keep those repairs up.
And roughly how many students are involved in all these programs combined?
Combined, we're at around 187, sorry. 187 total in the entire high school program. There are currently 82 students in the marching band. When I do look to purchase these uniforms, I'm looking not just for the numbers that we currently have. I do need to purchase a little bit more than that, just to accommodate for a growing program. We do have higher enrollment at the middle school, so we're expecting those numbers to increase over the next few years. We also need to accommodate for different sizes and shape bodies. So just because the sizes and shapes we have this year doesn't necessarily mean that's gonna be the population we have next year. So we do order more than what we need, but just so that we can accommodate everyone from year to year, especially if we're looking to hold on to these for 20+ years.
Any other comments?
I do.
Yeah, Paul, sorry, go
So to
ahead.
Jack's point, this is $3,500 a year since 1996, and and through the grapevine, I've heard, Kurt, that you manage this program in a way just at a high level of responsibility and creativity to make the dollars stretch, whether it's uniforms or whatever else. I'm sure we're buying instruments and doing all the other things that you have to do. So what's preventing us from making a motion on this to do this? I'm
The other way, you just rolling the dice and, and you're counting on there being money left in the undesignated fund balance, so, I don't know.
It seems like a flagship of our district is music. I mean, that's one of them. I mean, there's certainly girls soccer at the moment. But it is. It's Timberland Music's not a joke. It is a proud organization, and I think $3,500 a year since 1996. I would absolutely feel well and sleep well at night spending money on that without waiting for. And I respect the taxpayers. I'm one. Yeah, absolutely. But this is not much money here. We're walking around in wool uniforms from 1996. Just out of respect for the 200 kids, I don't know. It seems to me like we should be moving on this faster than waiting for a warrant article.
Are you going to make a motion?
Sorry.
So and I'm asking that because originally I was really quite enthusiastic about Kurt's idea, especially putting it out to the voters, letting them weigh in. Yet recognizing Jack's point with the atmosphere we're in, I know that I have seen a number of just vote no for everything, and I come from a town that voted no for free federal funds.
Right.
So I'm concerned that tenor might disenfranchise the program because people simply will not read and not realize the implications of not funding it. So I think I'm tending to side with you, gentlemen, now.
Well, this is just conversation, so I think before we go down that route, I think I'd like to research a little bit before we did anything
And I
else.
speak with Maria first, so I
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
what we can and can't do, and do it the right way. It is not a.
No, I get it.
I wanna do it the right way, but man, Kurt and team have certainly proven their responsibility with a dollar, in a wonderful program, and proven we can run a wonderful program and be creative financially and be responsible, and I think the kids and the faculty, if we're rewarding them for that, fine, but I just think they need this. So we can talk to Maria, I will talk to Maria as well.
Kim and then Bree.
Just out of curiosity, did you put in your mind, what if it doesn't pass? What's your plan if it didn't pass? Like, how would you go about?
I mean, we'd have the same options on the table next year. I mean, if it didn't pass by a warrant article, it's my understanding that for the 24-25 fiscal year, we wouldn't be able to fund it anyway. So we'd look at putting it, I mean, we'd have similar conversations next year, whether we decide to put it in the operating budget and try and get them that way, or if we generate another warrant article with similar language, or we go back to the raise and appropriate. Yeah, it's the options don't really change, it's just, do we wanna try the same path, or do we wanna try something else?
Great.
And
Oh, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, and that would be a different conversation next year with similar people, but under different circumstances.
So, one of my question is, we've approved funding for things here before, yes? So technically, could it be done?
Yes.
Okay, and then I would want Maria, if she's here, to, thank you. Look, do we have a pool to pull from now?
Now, well, it will be easier to wait until towards the end of the year to see when we have enough reserve fund balance.
So you're saying June is the,
Yeah,
Okay.
the spring.
I was just wondering what the timeline is.
Finding down, because as you know, things happen, emergencies happen, and it will be easier to.
Is there a different fund, like, I know we have like an encumbered fund, we have an emergency fund, we have a, like, what does this fall under?
And if you decide to do it from the unassigned fund balance, it's just from the general fund, the funds that are left at the end of the year. You have the emergency fund, but I don't think that's the
No, I
criteria
don't
of
think
an
it's an
emergency fund. So it's up to the school board.
I have a question.
Yep.
When's the last day the warrants are gonna be in, and what's the date of the meeting prior to that date?
So I was just gonna run the timeline by you guys,
There you
thinking
go.
about a couple of dates. We're really targeting latest, the second meeting in December, that we wanna have the warrants solidified and be able to move forward with them. We could potentially get into January, but in terms of a goal, I like to get that stuff set by the holiday. To Maria's point, we'll know the unreserved fund balance more in the springtime. So in terms of this decision here, you know, you've got another full month to kind of think through and talk about how you want to attack it.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Nice job.
Thank you.
Yep, the other article we want to speak to is Article 3, which is the potential agreement with the TTA. And I'm just really pleased to announce that the district and the TTA have reached a tentative agreement. Just reporting out what I think are three kind of really things to highlight on the district side is that this agreement makes a strong stride in retaining the significant teaching expertise that's currently in Timberlane. Secondly, it goes a long way to securing really challenging positions that have been difficult to staff over time. And third, and I think this is echoed through both committees or both teams that met together, it has really continued to build the partnerships between teachers, administrators, and the board that in the end has a result in an impact on kids in the classrooms. So a few more things we wanted to do tonight. Lou is here with us. He's going to speak as the TTA president to that tentative agreement. And then we would ask Mark to kind of close from the board position as well.
So the first thing I'd like to announce is that we did have a vote to ratify and that it was overwhelmingly ratified. So the next step is for the board to approve. It was a phenomenal process. I've done 5 of these. Brian Richmond has done 4 of these. We've never seen a process that has gone so smoothly. I wanna thank our team, our attorney. I wanna really thank your team. It was exceptionally professional. It was smooth, collaborative. There was robust debate. It was good. It was very good. It was fruitful. And one of my team members said it was fun, so I've never it was great. And we finished it. October 26th we met a total of 6 times. One of those was the planning session. So it was just phenomenal. And I do want to congratulate everyone, our team, your team.
Thank you, Lou.
Yeah, I would just kind of like to dovetail on that. I was involved in last year's negotiation. And the tenor in the room between last year and this year, the difference was palpable. And I think we all went into it with a recognition that we needed to work together collaboratively and get the job done. Again, there was some heated debate. I don't think everybody got exactly what they wanted, but there was a combined effort and a recognition that the position the teachers had been in and potentially would be in again was unfair and untenable for all involved. I think there was a recognition that though we were not able to close the gap, strides needed to be made in order to recognize the teaching professionals that we have, the frontline troops for our students, for our community. They are the MVPs. And again, though not everybody got what they wanted, there was a feeling of collaboration, which I've not encountered in any negotiation in the past. A lot of that has to do with the professionalism that you brought to the table, I think, as well as a recognition amongst all of us that we needed to move the ball forward and recognize the great work that is being done, not just with platitudes. So thank you to this team for the support that you gave us during the negotiating process, and now the hard work begins. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And lastly, just for the board, we'll plan to bring that agreement before you at the next board meeting for ratification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Do we have anything else on warrant?
I do not.
Okay. And again, we'll have other meetings. This will be a continued running agenda item for that, so. Alright, next thing is the elementary phonics instruction update.
So I'm going to invite, I know it says that I'm going to present, I'm actually not presenting, but I'm thrilled to invite Mrs. Lucy Canotis, who's our Director of Elementary Education, along with 4 of our outstanding educators to come up and speak to you about an update. So if you wanna all come up to the board once to the table. So I know they'll introduce themselves in the context of the presentation, but we have Leanne Miller and Mandy DeQ, who are both kindergarten teachers at Sandown Central. Amy DeFio and Meredith Bastine are 2 of our literacy coaches who are working really hard on what we are going to be talking about with our teachers. Just personally, I know we just heard a lot about the amazing work that's happening in our classrooms. They're going to be speaking to you about just a really comprehensive look at the work that goes into teaching and learning in our district. You'll hear about some high-level planning, some professional development, collaborative teamwork to do some research into best practices, conversations about what that looks like, how to engage other teachers to make the best decision for our students and their learning outcomes. And then implementation this year. So they're gonna talk to you about all of that, but you know, I've had the opportunity to be in classrooms this fall. I know Justin has as well, and I've been in kindergarten. I was in kindergarten classes in this school last week. Happened to be in a 2nd grade classroom in Atkinson where I saw these lessons in action. And we're really excited to kind of share some early outcomes and early observations of a programmatic shift that we've made in elementary phonics instruction. So I'm going to turn it over to the group.
So in addition to the 4 of us here, we would also like to extend a special thanks to grade 1 and grade 2 teachers, Callie Murray from Sandown North, Lexi Silva from Pollard, and April Foley and Nikki DeSantis, both from Danville, who contributed to this presentation tonight. Phonics instruction teaches students the correlating sounds with letters or group of letters in an alphabetic writing system. Effective phonics instruction is necessary for all students.
Our concern over the last few years was at the Timberlane School District, we continued to see a lack of application and transfer from isolated phonics instruction to their students' work. We also saw decreased success for all in decoding, which is reading, and encoding, which is writing. So we began to question the program we were using, both in instructional delivery and its isolation from phonemic awareness. So we had phonemic awareness instruction and then we had phonics instruction. So this posed an opportunity for us to take a look at what was out there, current practices, based on newer research, in our hopes that we could find something that would improve student learning.
So this process was undertaken in part Lucy had put together a district PA phonics and committee for the 2022-2023 school year. There was participation and representation from all 5 schools. We reviewed the developing research on effective instruction, investigated programs based on the identified criteria, and piloted programs within our schools. Members of the committee researched and brought forward resources to review. The committee determined that UFly Foundations, also referred to as just UFly, appeared to be the best option for Timberlane. Each school purchased a UFly manual to pilot and to review. The committee came to a consensus that UFly was the best fit for Timberlane and our students. UFly was presented to the Curriculum and Assessment Committee for purchase from K to 5.
So what is UFly? It's an explicit and systematic phonics program. It's research and evidence-based. It aligns to LETRS, and I don't know if you've heard the word LETRS before, LETRS, but that's a program that not only the district has provided PD training for our teachers, but also the Department of Education, the New Hampshire Department of Education, gives stipends for teachers to participate in the LETRS training. It's a very high level, based on science of reading, professional development. It bridges the phonemic awareness and phonics, that gap that we saw before. It provides practice in both decoding and encoding within connected text. So they're practicing their phonics skills within connected text that they're reading. It's a core instruction for K through 2 and an intervention for students in N grade.
This video is a compilation of the work done by the PA committee during the 2022-2023 school year. Members who dabbled shared videos and quotes. This video also contains feedback from committee members, which was shared at a K-5 Professional Development Day at the end of last year to roll out UFly Foundations to the district.
So with the new research that's surrounding the science of reading, we've learned the importance of an explicit, systematic phonics approach to teaching it. And right now we have Hegarty and we have Foundations, but UFly is able to weave both of those together so that it's providing the phonemic awareness and phonics instruction that matches each other. And then not only does it have that, but it has an articulation guide, there's decodable passages that match it, and activities to go with each skill.
I really like the UFly scope and sequence. It's organized so that students build all the necessary skills to be proficient readers, and they're very clear and concise lessons. It has skills that build on one another. It has enough practice to build mastery. And there are 128 lessons that address more than 100 different grapheme phoneme correspondences, as well as many initial morphemes and spelling patterns. And the best part is that it's going to be consistent K through 5. K through 2 are going to be using it whole class, and grades 3 through 5 and Title I and SPED will be using it primarily for interventions.
They love it. I've used it in both whole group and small group, and they have found it so much fun.
But it's really cool, and you get to learn a lot of stuff. You can like some vowels that you didn't know about. I like that I go to write on the board and call out. I feel like I learned
phonemic awareness, and this is super simple for you guys because you're big kids, right? So if I'm going to say some sounds, you tell me what word it is. Are you ready? Edge. What word is that? Edge. How about this one? Edge. Bull edge.
Ledge.
All right, so we check off the phonemic awareness. We are done. Check in the box. This time, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put a letter up here, and I want you to raise your hand if you can tell me all the ways to make that sound. How about this one? It makes the same sound as the last one. Did you know that?
No.
So I just want to go back for a minute, because this sound right here, do you remember CH was called a digraph? You remember that when you were in first grade?
Yeah.
Digraphs, they are CH, SH. What's another digraph you learned? WH. Well, this is called a trigraph. Now, think about that prefix, tri. What do you think it means? If a digraph.
UFly is easy to implement. The lesson is laid out across 2 pages, and differentiation ideas are embedded in those 2 pages. There's no flipping to different parts of the manual to make the task easier or more challenging for students. I also like the pace of the lesson, the transition between skills quickly, so it maintains student engagement. But my favorite part of UFly is the progress monitoring. Administration and correcting is fast, and it's administered frequently, so I'm able to catch students before their misunderstanding becomes a bad habit.
Start with my first word. Are you ready for my first word? The word is switch. I want you to write the word switch. Switch. I noticed that some of you wrote it and you said, wow, this doesn't look like I see in books. You're using what's called your reader's eye to check your spelling. Nice job. I would like you to...
I like that UFly is easy to implement. All of the lesson components, including differentiation ideas, are provided within each lesson. There's no flipping back and forth in the manual. I like that the lessons have a quick pace. This structure maintains student engagement as you're moving from task to task every 3 to 5 minutes. But my favorite part of UFly is the progress monitoring. Administration is fast. It gives real-time feedback to you so you know any students who are struggling and catch any misunderstandings and remediate them before they become a bad habit. I also like that the decoding and encoding of the phonics pattern is woven throughout each and every lesson, providing practice every day. And lastly, the other advantage of UFly is that high-frequency words are taught as decodable when learning the pattern or as heart words. Both of these routines provide students with strategies for when they're decoding and reading on their own and don't have to rely on their memory.
So these are some voices from committee members that implemented UFly this year. UFly correlates so nicely with letters training that we're doing. It's easy to follow and is constantly reviewing previously taught skills. And that's by Callie Murray, grade 1, Sandown North, and that's something that we felt like the other program that we used did not do, continue to revisit those previous skills. I really appreciate that the skills taught spiral back around as the lessons progress. Instead of teaching a skill and moving on, the skills are intertwined as you go through the lessons. I also find that the progress monitoring is a clear indication of what each of my literacy groups needs to be working on. It's quick and to the point, and that's Lexi Silva, grade 1, Pollard School.
Okay, I thought a grade 1 student wrote that. I said, that's, I said, well, it's really working. I figured it out. Well, it's good.
When asked, students replied that, "I like when we get to write sentences on the big board," and that was Andy. "I love doing whiteboards and changing the sounds to make new words," said Bradley. "And I like when we do whiteboards. It's fun to play games with the words when we write and erase them," and that was Grayson. So there's a fun component brought in where our previous program was very rote and almost mechanical at times.
So this is November of first grade. This is the we do part of the lesson where students are applying both previously learned and new phonics skills by writing or encoding at the sentence level.
This is UFly in action in a grade 1 classroom. There are different parts of each lesson where the students are seeing the letter sound correspondence and then practicing applying that skill either by writing or using magnet tiles. A teacher quoted, or April Foley from Danville said, "I like that within a UFly lesson, you have the opportunity to reteach previous skills while also introducing and practicing the new concept. UFly gives teachers the flexibility to use different manipulatives throughout the lesson to maintain engagement. And I also love the technology integration. My kids love the blending board. Another one of my favorite things about UFly is the excitement from my students when it is UFly time and the amount of growth I am seeing across my classroom."
So the blending board was in the video you saw, it was online and the kids could manipulate the letters, I love that. This is a grade 2 classroom. The students are manipulating letter tiles to build words, which is part of the UFly routines. And this is a quote from Nikki DeSantis, grade 2 Danville School. "I like that within a lesson we can practice former skills and introduce new skills while changing up activities. There are chances for students to write on their whiteboards or come up to my board. There are manipulative letters for students, and the use of technology is easy for each lesson."
Additional teacher voices. One said, "I can't believe how much they're learning in UFly. There are so many less behaviors than when we did Foundations, our previous program. I was nervous about how fast it goes, but they're getting it, and I can't believe it. I can't wait to see how much they're able to do in June. Teaching phonics this way is so much easier than it ever was with Foundations." So there's an excitement across the staff in that students are picking this up and we're getting better at it as we go.
There was a sentence there about behavior, that there are so many less behaviors than we do. What do you think that means? I don't understand that.
Children are more focused and working as opposed to being off task.
Okay.
The pace of the UFly lessons is every 5 to 6 minutes. They're changing their routine. Where our previous program, it was a longer duration that they were doing the same sort of activity with the skill. So that constant changeover. So if I'm not getting it in writing, in just a few minutes I'm going to have a manipulative, or I'm going to switch over to reading.
Got it. Thank you.
So application is already happening, and this is what you really are here to see, is we have Mandy DeCue and Leanne Miller from Sandown Central to share some amazing work of their kindergartners, which is showing early change of instruction and the benefits of this UFly program.
Absolutely. My voice, I apologize, this is not what I sound like all the time. Yeah, Mandy and I work closely together and we share a lot of stuff. So we're constantly talking about what our kids are doing and sharing, and it's really exciting to see the growth. And I've talked to several people over the last few days about how I feel like the kids are like 3 months ahead of where they've been in the past. So it's exciting, and you'll see in here, it might look it's exciting to you, but to us it's like, oh my gosh, look what they're writing. I mean, this is the beginning of it all, and it's so exciting for us to see something working and working so quickly. The pace is fast, but our kids have really adapted to it. At first, I'll be honest, I was really overwhelmed by learning something new, but once we started doing it and we got into a little bit of a groove, wow, the kids have just taken off, and it shows up in very unexpected places.
And I think too, we are really showing more of the application piece.
Oh, hold on, Dee. Oh, sorry. Just tell me quick.
Sorry, Dee. That this is where they're generalizing a lot of the skills that they're learning during this specific UFly, but in our guided play, which is later in the afternoon. So we just know how meaningful this is for them, that they're using it in kind of a risk-free zone, and because they want to and because they feel empowered by it. So the beginning part of the year, they're really just using familiar words and experimenting with the letter sound connections. And this is happening daily, and we only were able to highlight a few. We actually shared with our students today. They were like, well, where's our writing? Since we only had to go, we're like, we can't take 3 hours worth of their time. But so this is them like right within the first couple of weeks. And if you've ever been to a kindergarten class in the first couple of weeks, like this is really impressive.
Yes.
And exciting. Go ahead, sorry. And then in October, November, they're really, like Leanne had said, what we're seeing now is not what we typically see at this time of year. So it's really, really fun. They're so excited to work on their writing, to work on their reading. We usually do we've broken up the lessons in the morning because it is a long sitting time for them. And typically we do some reading right prior snack. And just today, I stopped and said, we're gonna pause, we'll do this after. And they're like, well, hold on, we wanna show you something. I'm like, I know, but it's snack. They're like, but we need to show you what we can read. I'm like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. So that's really great.
And if you look here, again, this is a snapshot from when we do play, but I remember just being floored. We had learned the sounds. These are sounds that we've learned. So in my picture, there's a little chalkboard and it says map. So we had just learned, I don't know, probably, yeah, right there. We just learned P or something like that. And we've been talking about sounding out words, and I turn around and there it is. It's taped up there and they're labeling that. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's something you dream about. If I asked them to do that, they wouldn't do it.
Right.
But when you don't ask them, like, there it is. And then my friend Sawyer in that picture, we had learned the letter I, but also that I is a word, and he built it with Legos. So, you know, they're just so excited about it. We're excited too, but they're so excited. So it's really fun to see. Are you gonna show them that?
Yeah, the
Make
video
that,
is so
please? You
cute.
make it
Yes.
big.
You have to see the video.
I can. If not, Dean can.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah,
What's your word?
Domino.
What is it?
Domino.
Nice spelling.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
I mean,
That's really cool.
It's really
amazing. And this is their choice. This is not something that they have to be working on. It's their autonomy, and this is what they're excited about. And this is yeah, sometimes it's
Domino.
What is
it?
It's worth hearing again.
So there's a lot of bookmaking happening, again, because they're so excited about the writing piece, they want to share. So this is all student driven. This is not something that Leanne and I set up for them, but they kind of just went off with it, and we're obviously supporting and scaffolding, but this is really them.
And this started early on because I
It
know I
did,
went over and they
yeah.
were like, they're making
Right.
books.
Well,
They were so excited.
and this was my student did the mom and dad and the sad. So we had just learned and she put it in the book, and then she did sad, which was great because we had just added D to our list of letters that we know, and then she wrote the end, which was great. And the one in the corner, well, it says fairy. It's hard to see and understand that, but this little girl has difficulty taking the assessment piece, but she can do this. You know, I mean, it's just amazing. It's awesome to see. It's exciting. We get excited all the time.
Do you want to play those videos quick if you don't mind?
They're adorable.
Rainbow. American rainbow. Love rainbow.
Just go a little bit closer so we can see the page.
Pattern rainbow.
Okay.
Lavender rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And sun rainbow.
The end.
This is a dog. This this is a dog from right there. This is a tree. This is Mrs. Miller. This is Miss Dad. This is Lily. This is
So focused, yet the chaos in the background. I can't
Mandy said, why don't you take them out in the hallway? I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's such a good idea.
Children in their natural habitat.
It is.
And then another piece too is their documentation. And again, we told them today we were coming. They're like, "Are you gonna show them what we document?" I was like, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." So during their inquiry, they're doing a lot of documenting and also reading things that I've put out and noticing words within books. And so our pumpkins are decomposing. So a friend had documented that and hung it up on the window. And then we do a lot of, prior to an inquiry, we talk about things we know and wonders that we might have, questions. And one day a friend started to just write her own wonders. I had been scribing for them for a while. And she just took it upon herself to do that on her own, which was really awesome.
Time to play it.
Yes, please.
Go. I wonder if pumpkins can change colors.
Great. Go.
The last part. Oh no, you do this one.
Oh, okay. And then just the journal writing piece. So they're asked, we try to write in journals every day. They're asked to illustrate their play plan for guided play, or we're working on other things, but that's what this particular journal entry was about. And it just gives them that opportunity to practice those skills that they're working on daily in structured whole group fly lessons. So again, they're doing it in the moment, but it's clear that they're internalizing it because they're able to apply it throughout their day, which has been really wonderful to see.
Lucy, do you want me to talk about the cost piece? Because this is like an added win-win. So when we were looking at this program, we had to do like a little cost analysis, how much the consumables from the program that we used before. And to purchase, I know at Sandown North, to purchase the manuals for all the teachers in the building cost the same amount as consumables for 1 year, and there are no consumables with this program. So it's done. Do you know what I mean? The money that we would have spent on the consumables for 1 year, now all the teachers have the book. All the materials are free. You can download them online, and all the videos, all those the slides, the PowerPoints that you saw are all free to us. Once for anybody, but once you have the manual, now you have the lessons that go with them. So it was really a win-win for us, and especially to see early on how well everybody's children, the progress they're making.
That's awesome. Thank you for the videos. I mean, we hear about the good work, but it was actually nice to be able to see it in action. I thought that was really great. Do you have any questions for these ladies? Yeah, Mark, go ahead and
Just a real fast statement. Been on the school board for a couple of years. This is the first time that I've seen educators up here smiling universally. And the fact is, there are several times when all four of you were smiling as you were describing the leaps and bounds in education for your students and the joy that you got from watching students exceed prior expectations. That's awesome. That's why we're here, even though we only spend 1% of the time on it. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'd be interested, I know that we use iReady to track progress. I'd be really interested to compare classrooms that are using this to ones that are not and see the progression of students, if that's something.
Right now, all our
All of
K
them are
through
using
2
it. All of
classrooms are
K to
using it.
2. Yeah.
If we could compare it to last year when you
Mhm.
didn't use it.
Look at progress.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna say, if we could.
Yeah.
It's different this year, right?
Yes.
And what is the cost?
It was each manual is like $90. That's it.
It
And then that's it.
was-
One time it's.
It was very, very reasonable. And we had budgeted it for something last year, so we were prepared to purchase to be ready to go, so.
To buy the manuals and
And that's it. There's no other cost. That's, once you have the manual, that's it.
you're like a member.
It was developed
other deals I've
with
heard.
grant money, so the resources are open and free, but the resources don't have the
There's no
teacher
cost.
outlining the manual. So
You
once you have
just
the
print-
manual, the resources are free to
You
you.
just go to the website and you print them. It's through the University of Florida.
Yeah. Are they dynamic, like they update or improve or come up?
They've updated some of the decodable passages just since August to make them more student friendly and more decodable for them at the levels they're at.
And even the technology, because I was one of the dabblers, that lesson you saw was my very first time teaching that program. And one of the glitches that they had last year was already fixed when I started using it this year. So they are constantly.
Yeah, well, you were pretty engaging up there, and I've never made a book that nice, I don't make, you know, books or something, so it's good.
Anything else?
I just wanna say
Yes,
thank you because I think, I think back to the soccer team who was here, right, and the questions that Justin asked, and we heard about teamwork, collaboration, perseverance. Right, I think everything you are all working on really embodies all of those things. I mean, this has really been a team effort. It's challenging, it's super complex. I hope you can recognize the complexity that goes into the craft of teaching. And it is a craft and it requires perseverance and persistence. And so we're so fortunate you are willing to take it on. Super exciting to see the early results and just thank you. Thank you so much. It's great.
Thank you, ladies, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming in.
Right. Next on the agenda is the Center for School Climate and Learning update.
Just wanted to give the board an update where we are working with this organization. We are in stage one, and I know you've got some information in your packets there. But this Friday, so it's opportune time to talk about it, the student design teams will be meeting with the adult design teams for the first time. They'll be on site, both the middle school teams and the high school teams at the PAC, so thanks to Kurt for opening up that space for us. And they're gonna just kind of be gelling as a team there. We're gonna be announcing to families kind of who those students were selected. The schools are involved in that this week. And from there, they're gonna move into stage two where they're gonna do some data collection. So they're gonna be seeking input not only from the student body, but for the entire staff of those schools and also the parents and guardians and adults that are important in their lives. And then they're gonna move into stage three, which is really graduate level data analysis. They're gonna be breaking down and answering some questions around some of the gaps they see there. And they'll move into stage four by the end of the year about making some implementation plans, some goal setting procedures to get changing some practices there. So that work is now like functionally beginning at the schools. And I'm gonna continue to give the board an update about where we are, because as we move into the data collection phase, we wanna be really advertising out there for as many people to participate as possible, because the decisions that these kids working with these staff are gonna make are only gonna be as good as the information that they're gathering. So we're gonna wanna really push that forward and advocate for all participation across those levels.
Anybody have any questions? Yeah, Bree?
I was wondering if, cause I believe Fantasia does that leadership program every year, is that the pool we're kind of pulling from or a completely different one?
Completely different pool. So the whole mechanism here is that the students that are selected are of wide-ranging interests and hobbies and academic achievements and non-achievements that are possible. So that when we hear them, they come to the table and they are experts on that experience and they can have a more representative kind of voice for the entire school setting.
Yeah, having that aspect of inclusion, collaboration to really reflect and make our school a better place is really important. And I like that you said that it was gonna be a wide range of students so that we can get different perspectives and outlooks. So I think that's really great.
Anybody else, any questions or comments? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is the administrative report.
You wanna start? You want me to start?
Sure. Mine is gonna be fairly quick. I had fully intended to come and talk about this and then we were able to pull this together and I wanna once again thank Mrs. Kanotis. She didn't come up and speak, but she helped to really rally the troops around some of that great work. Also, I was at the middle school yesterday and Mr. Mensis walked me into the cafeteria just to show me. I know Aman talked about World Kindness Day, which was earlier this week. But it was great to see the middle school did a project on that day where students and teachers wrote messages of kindness on pieces of paper and then they made a chain that went around the entire cafeteria. And they talked with the kids about it being emblematic about one small act, right, when connected to others, can have an impact. And so it was just a really nice visual representation of some of the work that's going on in that building to promote, right, kindness, culture, climate, with students. So that was a great thing to see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also today, we had district admin and building admin and a whole lot of the SAU staff that were in schools serving Thanksgiving lunch to kids. So I really wanted to recognize Myra, who's the director of food service, to kind of organize those things. It's really just nice to have some interaction and be able to see actually the products and the work in terms of what we do here. So it was great to be in those cafeterias. I want to remind families that also you should have got an email. It would have been on the 13th of November. There is an organization in Danville, Flying Wheels as a business. They are seeking a donation of a handicap van to families in our district, and they're going to have kind of a selection process that way, so that if you know a family, please direct them that email. If you're a family that could benefit from a handicap accessible van at a free donation, please get in there and put your name in that hat, and we can kind of see if we can get that place to a place of need for us. Two really awesome upcoming things. This Saturday, December 2nd, the middle school PTSA is kind of sponsoring again their 41st annual senior kind of concert. So typically they've got 60 to 100 folks across our communities that are there. I think it's an excellent way to engage. It's one more example of educators doing things beyond the workday. This happens on a Saturday. There'll be a whole lot of folks there kind of supporting that work. Also at the high school on December 10th, they're going to do the holiday concert. I think that they do the How the Grinch Stole Christmas there musically, and there's kind of a reading. That's on a Sunday, and again, there's be a lot of educators there supporting kids. It's open to the community, and we hope a lot of folks come out and enjoy the wonderful pack that we have there. In terms of updates to the board, one of the things that we wanted to start new this meeting and for successive meetings is to report out on where RFP processes stand. So we have 2 open RFPs right now. One is for a tractor. We've received 5 bids from 4 vendors, and we'll be bringing a recommendation for a bid selection to the next meeting. Then most recently, we just opened up an RFP for the irrigation upgrades. Not only is it posted on our website, it's gone to 2 other organizations and then directly to 5 other companies itself. So we'll be reporting about where those are going to be in terms of the bids received and coming back that way. That's all I have.
Awesome. Personnel report. We do have one professional nomination.
Make a nomination to accept the professional nomination of Leah Poulin, school social worker at TLC in Sandown North.
Motion to have a second.
Second.
Second by Kim. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And abstained. You were on it that time. You were delayed. No resignations. And then a vacancy report. Fran, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, no real changes to it, so, although at least it hasn't gotten any bigger.
Okay. Any questions for Fran while she's up here? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, committee reports. I'm gonna start with Paul.
Yeah, thanks. Last week we had the Curriculum and Assessment Committee. There's pretty robust discussions around some things that I never thought I'd be involved with. But you guys have made it, your team has just made it fascinating. I know Lucy did some of these things too. It's just, I don't know, it's pretty cool. But anyway, just some competency, talk about, I think it was grade 8 math competencies, proposed changes there. I think Sandra, you suggested we're gonna kick some of that back, or to review the units for the actual standards before bringing to the board. Same thing with grade 8 ELA. That one was the one around justice. There's pretty robust discussion around the justice piece there, and but it's nice to look into these things that teachers have spent a lot of time on. And I've said this before at some of those meetings coming out of them, just the amount of time that educators and teachers and folks are spending trying to make these things right and meaningful, not just some rubric or something that doesn't make sense to anybody. So they're nice discussions. I think that one was gonna get kicked, did I take a note on that one? We're gonna get some more feedback from the teachers on some of the rationale behind the changes, because we weren't real clear on that. And then a real good program of studies was a discussion. And so I think some of these things are gonna come to us in December on the school board. But that was a pretty long discussion as well. We did not get into iReady as much. I think that was on the agenda, but we had,
Next time.
with it on the one for next time, but yeah, it was a good hour of discussion. It was pretty fascinating to me, so thank you.
Awesome, great.
Me and Kim are on strategic planning committee, and me and Mark Patterson were voted as co-chairs. So congrats to us.
You were voluntold.
And we'll be reporting updates at the first meeting every month.
Kim?
No, those two just took my committee reports, so
Nice.
yeah. We didn't do anything, yeah.
Mark?
FudCom met, I'll be receiving that. One of the areas that I received the most attention again was iReady, and I had reached out to Sandy. I don't know whether you have a chance to read my email or not. There were some questions regarding that. But we'll get into more detail once we have more information on it.
Sean?
I have nothing.
Nothing.
Wellness committee meets in January 2024.
See, you had
And
something.
policy committee meets in December.
First Thursday in December.
Sorry, I have the respiratory plague, so I don't even know what day of the week it is. We're meeting soon.
See, you had two things.
All right.
Safety committee met Tuesday this week. Good discussions, again, like what they said, the schools are starting to do the ALS training on the school levels. Had the police chief in there, and we were discussing about the SRO position for a plan and keeping that, and so there's good plan that's in place, and then we'll continue moving forward. Our next meeting is on December the 12th. That's all I have. Kristen?
I'm on safety with you, so that kind of just took it out for me, so I will go on to just say, I don't think Armand mentioned this in his report. The Milkman Improv are having a show on the 29th. And that one's going to, all their shows that they do, they raise money for other clubs, organizations in the school. And that one's going to be for the Math Honor Society and the Class of 2025. And this is their Corpsing Cup. And right now, Alex Horgan was the champion last year. So someone's looking to knock him off his throne. So it will be a fun event and just something to look forward to.
Awesome. John?
So we've all covered the curriculum very well. And program studies, such an important document. They spend a lot of time on wordsmithing it and making decisions about what to run and not to run. About things you don't want to run now, but you might want to run later, things like that. Applaud all the work of the different departments as they have input into what's going to work for all our kids in terms of the curriculum. It's great.
Awesome. Jack?
I'm just a quiet guy, not much to say.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did have one more thing. Congratulations to the Timberlane Middle School B volleyball team that won a championship recently.
Oh, did they?
They
girls.
did.
The girls?
The girl, yeah. Very cool. So congratulations to those students on the team and to Coach O'Sullivan as well.
Nice. Any other business at this time? Okay, do we have any other delegates or individuals? No. We'll be going into a non-public, if you would make the motion.
Yep, I'll make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A:3C.
Thank you. I will second. Brady is seconded. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Jack Sapia.
Yes.
John Woodworth.
Yes.
Kristen Savage.
Yes.
Katie Newsom.
Yes.
Jonathan Manthorn.
Yes.
Mark Sherwood.
Yes.
Kim McCormick.
Yes.
McCormick. Bree Woodworth.
Yes.
And Paula Kane.
Yes.
We will not be back, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, all these are serious.